Hello there and welcome back. Welcome back to the Agostino Zinga show with your host Agostino Zinga, and this is episode number 911. Welcome back to the Agostino Zinga show with your host Agostino Zinga, and this is episode number 1911. Nueve, uno. What's happening, people? How you doing? How you feeling? Hope you're good wherever you may be. Hope you're feeling fine. Hope you're feeling good. As you can tell by my dulcet tones, as you can tell by my fatigue tones, I've just got back from the gym, just had a nice little shower, just had a bit of dinner, and I'm feeling very chill. I'm feeling very calm, feeling very zen, feeling very relaxed. Today was pretty interesting one in the whole gymnasium. I felt as if it was emptier than it usually is, because most Friday nights is kind of full, which is quite good for me, being the serial loner that I am. It's kind of nice to see other people, instead of being out and about with friends, instead of doing this and that, they're in the gym on their own. Do you know what I mean? Zoning in on their workout, browsing the feed while they sit on the machine. It's always weirdly somewhat gratifying to see other people do the same weird tapped stuff that I do, in terms of, you know, cutting myself from society and just doing my own thing. But today, this particular Friday night, I felt as if the whole of the gym was out and about. I didn't feel as if people were in there. It felt as if the whole of the gym had gone outside to touch grass, which is a bit different, but also welcomed as well, because that meant all the machines were free, all the racks were free specifically. I don't usually touch the machines, but from what I could see, a lot of them were free. But for me, it meant the racks were free, the little squat racks that I use, which meant I could get the weights and pile them up, which I don't like to do usually. When it's busy, I don't like piling up weights because people need to use them. But when it's free like this, when it's empty like this, I like to pile up the weights. So I piled them up, ready for me to use. Nobody came and asked me how long I have, or if I can use this one or whatever. So that was absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, I happened to bump into, once again, people that I don't know if I mentioned in this pod before, but there's these two girls that really get after it when I'm in there. They really go after it. Plus they do good content too. So I think my whole idea, or my whole notion, that people who go to the gym and record content are usually jokers and not there, and not there for serious reasons, I think that is wrong, because due to these two particular girls I see every time that I'm in there around the same sort of time, they get after it, bro. They get after it. I'm not sure if they're sisters or they just look alike, but they're kind of like, I'd say short white girls, and they usually wear the same outfits, little fucking top and some tights, white socks and trainers garbs, but they get after it in that little free area bit. They were getting after it, lunges, burpees, they were using that the ski urge machine, like they were going hard. So it's always good when I see them, because I feel like just from watching them afar, you can kind of get some energy from them. You know what I mean? Some motivation, because they really, really, really go for it. Plus they're recording at the same time. So in between them going for it, they kind of switch between them to hold the phone and record little bits and bobs, I'm guessing for their social medias and shit. But I do enjoy seeing them because they get after it. And that inspires me to, guess what? Get after it. I wonder how many times I said get after it just there. I wonder how many times. But apart from that, what else have I been doing? I've been licking my wounds regarding United's transfer activity, or lack thereof. I'll speak about that probably later on. I'm kind of concerned that so far there hasn't been a lot of like big outgoings, which is very, very concerning, because I think as much as we need, like I said in previous podcasts, we probably need about 6 to 7 proper first team players. I still think a lot of our season will kind of warrant on who gets out. Like, who do we kick out? The players that we sell, the players whose contracts we fucking just end, those will be the ones that will unfortunately dictate our success next season. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just feeling a little bit apprehensive about that, but your standard United thing, so I'll speak about that a bit later. But apart from that, I've also been watching some TV series. So I thought I'd recommend to you another TV series that I watched the other day, this time on Amazon Prime Video, and I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think I'd enjoy it because the premise seemed a bit naff, and not really something that would be my vibe, but I really did enjoy it. So I recommend you check out this series too. It's called The Better Sister. It stars Jessica Biel and this other lady called Elizabeth Banks. They both play sisters. Essentially, you find out, to be fair, it's kind of, you find out later on anyway, but essentially they both play sisters who basically fall in love with the same man. One sister dates the guy early on, they have a kid, but then they break up soon after. Then her sisters also date the same man and they get married, and then they become insanely rich and wealthy and stuff. So it's that kind of, you know, contrast between the sister that dated the guy first, who is now a drug addict, and now the younger sister who dated the guy second, but is now like, you know, enjoying all the fruits of that relationship now, because the guy is going to become super successful, and he's become, I think he's like a hedge fund manager or something. And spoiler warning, the kind of story kind of centers upon that guy dying. So it opens up, I think the first episode is that husband dies, and then you try to obviously find out in the entire series, it's kind of like a who's done it as to who actually killed him. And the good thing is that each character in this series has a reason. Each character has some sort of has a motive for why they would want that guy to die. And the husband is played by a guy called Corey Stoll. He plays Adam McIntosh. So it's a really decent series. I'm not gonna lie, I recommend you check it out. I really did enjoy it. Really did enjoy it, oddly enough. I thought, number one, I thought that Jessica Biel looked fantastic. Like, I'm not too sure if she's been doing CrossFit. I'm not too sure if she's doing marathon training or something. I'm not too sure if she's going for a break. Whatever's going on with Jessica Biel, she looks absolutely banging and jacked. Like, she is absolutely jacked to the nine to this series. The arms are armsing, the shoulders are shouldering, and the fucking back off is just like, there's a scene, obviously, they had to include it. There's a scene for some other reason that she's getting changed and she's in her underwear in the room, and you're like, God almighty, she has got a dump truck. Like, that's a Caucasian lady that doesn't, yeah, I mean, that doesn't skip the greens. You get what I mean? She definitely makes sure she eats her greens, because God almighty, the dump truck was dump trucking. But I thought the casting was really good between these two women. I'm not gonna lie. I thought the casting was superb. It actually felt like they were sisters, like one chaotic, like they're both, to be fair, when you watch the series, you realize they're both the same person. Although one person tries to be a little bit more prim and proper. I think Jessica Biel's character is like the founder of this really influential women's magazine. It's kind of like a Vogue type thing in that universe, and the sisters unfortunately are recovering drug addict and stuff. But what you see in the center of the story is that they're both very similar, because obviously they're sisters, but in personality wise, even though one thinks she's better than the other, they're both very similar in their own ways. And obviously, you know, you see how the murder of the husband or of the father of that child kind of like rocks the entire thing, and how it plays out and stuff. But I really recommend you check it out. I really reckon check it out. Again, I'm not really the biggest fan of these type of shows. There's another show that has a similar sort of premise. It's called, I think it's called Good Sister. It's more of a comedy. It's from the UK. It's a decent one too. I think it's about like 4 or 5 sisters. One sister is going out with a husband that all the sisters hate because he's really mean and he says really cunty stuff and stuff. I think in the opening episode, I think he's very dismissive to a Down syndrome kid. Like, it's kind of harsh. So the sisters, and he also kind of fundamentally changes. Like, he manipulates and whatever, psychologically harasses and damages the sister. So the other sisters kind of hack this plan together to kill him, and he ends up dying. But obviously, you know, throughout the series, the plot or the whole thing kind of gets unraveled, and then you have to kind of, you know, see how they kind of mend or maintain their relationships. That's a decent one, but it's more of a comedy. That one called The Good Sister, but I prefer this one. The Better Sister is actually a better series in that premise, starring Jessica Biel and Elizabeth Banks. I thought they both smashed it. If anything, I think maybe Elizabeth Banks had a stronger performance as the more chaotic, alcoholic, drug addict, emotionally unstable sister. I thought she did a really fucking good job. But if you're struggling for something to watch and you like the sound of that, I'd recommend you give it a try. It's on Amazon Prime Video now, so check it out if you're that way inclined. Check that out if you are that way inclined. Cool. Let's move on. So I'm sure most of you guys have seen everything that's happened since yesterday with Elon and Trump. Obviously, there's been a lot of kind of fallout from that. My only interesting hot take from this or opinion would be that I'm very curious to hear what the guys on All in One podcast are going to say. I'm very curious to hear what Joe Rogan's going to say. I know he's made a comment already. He had an episode with that guy Kash Patel, and young Jamie kind of broke the news live while as they're recording that Elon and Trump had fallen out publicly, and Elon had said some not so nice things about Trump on the timeline, but he didn't really say too much, right? I want to really hear what he has to say. I can't wait to hear what Joe Rogan has to say, his opinion, because he's been shilling and shucking and jiving and sucking and fucking Elon's dick for a while, and obviously Trump's. So I'm interested to see where he kind of lays his loyalties. I'm also curious to see, like I said, the All in One podcast guys, who are incredibly nauseating when it comes to talking about Trump, and especially Elon, especially what's his fucking name, fucking Jason Calacanis. He thinks fucking Elon's Jesus Christ reincarnated, so it'll be interesting to see what he has to say about that. I'm also curious just to see how it kind of plays out with some Republicans as well, who were firmly on the Elon bandwagon. Will they rededicate themselves to MAGA? Will they look at Trump now with another, in another way? How that's going to play out. But the most interesting thing for me is this post courtesy of Elon that he made when the whole thing was going on, where he said, time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. So essentially, Elon is basically letting us know that he's somehow seen the Epstein files. He's had a peek. He's had a gander. And he knows, or maybe he hasn't, but he just has information that will lead him to believe that Trump is in the Epstein files. Now, that isn't too surprising if you've been paying attention to things. That's been one of the most frustrating things about Trump in general and all these fanboys, especially people like Joe Rogan, their refusal to speak about the Epstein link, because there's videos, there's accounts from other people about, Trump and Epstein being pretty, I won't say close, like friendly, but, they knew each other. They roamed around the same sort of circles. So it's pretty crazy how nobody really pulls Elon up on that. Other people have had it. Other people have been grilled about their association with Ghislaine Maxwell and fucking, Epstein. But for some reason, Trump never gets pulled up on it, especially from people like Rogan and stuff who are obsessed with conspiracies. You think he'd be interested in trying to ask him that question or maybe talking about it some more, but they don't. And a lot of people have been wondering, why is it taking so long for the Epstein files to not flipping, get released? Now, to be fair, a lot of people, myself included, would imagine the Epstein files haven't been released because they've probably been redacted. A lot of names are probably going to get omitted. Most likely, whatever version of the Epstein files we eventually get won't be anything interesting to actually check. It may just be a repeat of the fucking flight log manifestos and shit that we saw, that some of them, they got really muddied because people had been altering them and whatever else it may be. So I don't expect it to be really that crazy, to be honest, because it's taking too long. But I also thought to myself, the reason why it's taking so long is because the people featured on that list are way too powerful and influential to let that stuff get out, So they have enough of a pull to dictate when that does get released, or the hope is people just forget about it and they can move on, which ain't gonna happen, obviously, because we're living in the most conspiratorial times ever. People, the more you kind of keep this sort of stuff from them, the more they're gonna want to dig. So people are never gonna move past it. But it does feel like the reason why there's been such a delay is because most likely there's a big name on there. No one wants to confirm it. Obviously, what Elon is accusing Trump of is pretty crazy, because essentially he's implying that Trump is a human trafficker. If that's the case, then that's prison, isn't it, right? That's not going to be impeachment, I don't think, right? That's not going to be fucking a slap on the wrist. If it does come to pass that Trump played any part in the transportation of flipping young underage girls, right? Like, he's in real big trouble. So this is crazy thing to drop, especially when you consider that Elon was Trump's right-hand man. I wouldn't give Trump any flowers for this. I wouldn't give him a pat on the back. I wouldn't give Elon Musk a pat on the back for this, because he was Trump's boy for a long time. I don't think you get any props for, like, airing out somebody who was doing madness when you were involved with the madness, or standing by them, or you were standing by them with full knowledge of the madness. You don't get any props for that. In a weird way, this is a terrible analogy, but it kind of reminds me of, like, you know, when girls break up with dudes, or if a dude cheats on a woman and then she flips out online and she starts calling him ugly and shit, and it's like, that's not going to work though, innit? You can't really call this guy ugly or a loser or a bum, because you still let him hit, you still let him smash. So if you let him smash and you think he's a bum and a loser, what does that make you? You know, so in this regard, as great as it is that Elon is saying what he's saying and insinuating that Trump may have been involved, you know, in some not so great things with Epstein in terms of human trafficking, it still doesn't make Elon look great, because he was endorsing that guy. He was standing by him, wearing his hat, doing fucking star jumps and shit and X signs everywhere, bringing his kid around him and stuff. Like, you don't come out there smelling like roses either, Elon. You know what I mean? And I also don't buy this notion. I'm sorry, I don't buy this notion that Elon is doing this for some sort of egalitarian reasons. Oh, because the debt over there in the States is going to be crazy, and he doesn't like the bill because it's going to plunge the country into more debt and blah, blah, blah. I don't buy that in the slightest. There is a self-interest here at play. Not too sure what it is, because politics isn't really my forte. I haven't read the bill in any kind of detail, so I have no idea. But I would bet, you know, a lot of money that the reason why he's flipping out on Trump about this flipping bill has more to do with his own self-interest, with his wealth, with his net worth, whatever, with the success of his companies, as opposed to him trying to fight for America not to get into fucking debt and not to go bankrupt or something. I don't buy that in the slightest. I don't buy it. Either way, it's been incredibly entertaining to watch from the outside in. I'm not going to lie. I've enjoyed every single minute of seeing these guys warring back and forth. I think it's quite funny that it all started because, you know, Trump essentially disowned him, right, Elon, by essentially putting some distance between them, essentially saying, hey, maybe we're not going to be boys, not going to be friends anymore. And Elon went in a bit of a tirade. I think this was on the cards for a long time. Those two egos, those two narcissists probably couldn't ever coexist for a long time. It kind of reminds me of, like, you know, that meme about when all the IG baddies link up to go on holiday together. That's what cute girls do, right? Cute girls sometimes are friends with other cute girls, and they inevitably sometimes will end up being IRL friends. They'll go on some big girl trip together, and then, you know, slowly but surely during the process of the trip, you'll start seeing less and less people there. People sneak this in, or people returning, and then suddenly people start unfollowing each other. It's like it happens every single time, like clockwork. Whenever cute girls get together, they go on holiday together and they fall out. So this is the same sort of thing. You can't, you know, Elon and Trump are the cutest guys, but they're pretty big deals in their own fields. So they couldn't coexist forever and ever. It was never going to last for a long time. I'm just surprised it happened so quickly, because it seemed like they were on good terms. It seemed like Elon had left the regime, at least Doge, with a handshake, and it was all good. But if you believe the rumblings behind the scenes, the black eye that allegedly came because he had some argument with some dude that was involved in Trump's government and shit. So there's been some rumblings behind the scenes that Elon has been not on good terms with a lot of people associated with Trump. He hasn't been liking certain things. So maybe it's no surprise it happened, but I'm glad to see it's happened. I'm not going to lie. It's a good thing for all in all, but I don't think Elon deserves a pat on the back. He's done nothing to deserve a pat on the back, in my humble opinion. The one thing he deserves a pat on the back for, though, is this. This story is fucking fascinating. This is the one thing I think Elon deserves a pat on the back for. This is courtesy of the New York Times. This came out a while back ago, like a few days ago, but I forgot to cover it, so I want to cover it now. Fucking fascinating. Courtesy of the New York Times. On the campaign trail, Elon Musk juggled drugs and family drama. This makes a lot of sense, because if you've been watching a lot of clips about Elon around the White House, around Trump's administration, you would have seen him looking a little bit ketty, looking a little bit scatty, looking a little bit nitty, as we say here in the UK, looking like a nitty, moving like a nitty, you know, and it gave off the feeling of somebody that was tripping balls, that had probably done a bit too much, right? Big up that fucking, big up that Reddit, right? Done too much. Big up that Reddit. That's what it kind of felt like. So this is no surprise, but it's good to get it on the record, courtesy of New York Times. It says, as Elon Musk became one of Donald Trump's closest allies last year, leading raucous rallies and donating about $275 million to help him win the presidency, he is also using drugs far more intensely than previously known, according to people familiar with activities. 275 million is a lot of money. I'm starting to rethink my position. Because I thought to myself, why did Elon actually think he could control or have any type of sway on Trump? He should have known that Trump was never going to allow him to hold anything over his head. But then again, if I was Elon and I donated 275 million to you, and I feel like I played an integral part in getting you re-elected, I'm going to be a bit pissed if you don't pass that bill by me. If you don't let me give it a little quick read before you fucking pass it through the fucking whatever else it is, you know? You'd be a little bit annoyed if you gave someone 275 million over the course of the campaign. You'd be like, you don't rate me, do you? You don't rate me. Anyway, it continues. Mr. Musk's drugs consumption went well beyond occasional use. So what they're trying to say is that occasional use is okay. You know, you're a billionaire, you're a fucking entrepreneur, you're this crazy guy. Okay, dabble in some stuff. But Elon, you did too much. He told people he was taking so much ketamine, a powerful anesthetic, that it was affecting his bladder, a known effect of chronic use. He took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms, and he traveled with a daily medication box that held up to 20 pills, including ones of the makings of stimulant Adderall, according to a photo of the box, and people who've seen it. Wow. So there's a picture. So these journalists haven't put it out yet, but there's a picture of the actual box. On my life, right? On my life, I've done a lot of ketamine in my life, right? I definitely have never heard of that bladder issue. He must be doing insane amounts. I've never heard of the bladder issue in my life. I've never heard of it. The main issue that I've had over my time of doing multivitamins has been like when I ended up doing way too much MDMA when I was first kind of going out around Dawson times. I'd get through like an 8-ball of that like a weekend, you know what I mean? On a weekly basis almost. And that in the end kind of caused me to have a bit of a crash, have like a depressive stage phase. And like I said previous times, I remember calling my friend Miles at the time and telling him, oh shit, I feel really down. And him essentially telling me no uncertain terms in a jokey way and also in a kind of mocking way. Of course you feel down. You're fucking doing like an 8-ball of fucking MDMA every night. Of course you're going to feel down. Then I Googled it and found out, oh shit, the fucking, you know, cons of doing that much gear, doing that much MDMA at least, especially that it's a serotonin dump, is that feeling that you're going to get when you're down in the dumps. But I've never heard of this ketamine bladder issue. He must have been doing so much stuff. But again, it all makes sense. All those weird head turning things he does, where it looks like legitimately his eyes are rolling back into his head. Like, I couldn't imagine the worst thing possible. Like, me personally, I prefer when you're doing your multivitamins to be in a situation or to be in a place where other people are doing them also. Not sure about you. I feel sometimes if ever I've done another multivitamin and I'm in an environment where there's people who are not doing it, I feel incredibly self-conscious, right? I get incredibly paranoid. But it's way better to do it in a rave or a party because everybody's on that kind of timing. At least you've hoped so anyway. But you're more at ease. You're less anxious. So I couldn't imagine doing all that gear and then standing in a super brightly lit flipping White House, Oval Room or whatever. And then during a press conference, having cameras flashing your face, journalists screaming at you and shit. Yeah, your kid pulling at your fucking shirt. Nah, man, this guy's a mad guy. The fact that he could do that is a madness. It is unclear whether Musk 53, again, 53. I feel like a loser sometimes doing adult multivitamins now, right? I feel like a loser sometimes doing adult multivitamins now. I could not imagine doing them when you're 53 years old. Now, the flip side of it could be, if you're Elon and you've amassed the wealth that he has over time, surely one of the benefits of it is that you can do what the fuck you want. You're not bound by societal norms, right? You can literally do whatever the fuck you want. Gear at 6 a.m., gear at 1 a.m., booze at 4 a.m., whatever. Men, women, cats, dogs, whatever. You can do whatever you want, literally. You can kind of get away with anything, maybe with the exception of murder. And even that, if you know the right people, you could probably get away with it. But there is something very unbecoming about a 53-year-old man doing gear. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm just imagining, picturing 53-year-old me bent over a key, holding one side of my nostril, sniffing something, breaking up a pill. Like, It's a bit gross. I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit gross. It continues. But he has exhibited erratic behavior, insulting cabinet members, gesturing like a Nazi, and garbling his answers in a staged interview. At the same time, Mr. Musk's family life has grown increasingly tumultuous as he has negotiated overlapping romantic relationships and private legal battles involving his growing brood of children, according to documents and interviews. The kids thing, like, maybe that's a red herring for a lot of people, but I'm sure there are some people out there. I remember that one dude, I forgot his name. There was this chef. I think it's the one with grey. I think it might be Argentinian. There was that time during was it COVID or before COVID? There was that series on Netflix called Chef's Table, and there was that one dude. I think he's Argentinian or something, who had this really cool restaurant, but he also lived a very counterculture life sort of thing, where he had like a harem of women who he all impregnated and stuff, and they were all living happily under one roof. So I'm sure those kind of people exist, right? Those type of dudes who are like, you know, bigger than life sort of characters who, you know, believe in, you know, essentially repopulating the earth with kids and shit. They're all about free love. The women are all, you know, willing participants in this as well. So I'm sure it can work. But I think on Elon's side of things, the way it kind of unravels is his insistence that he's this like business entrepreneur maverick guy who leads all these companies while also having all those kids, while also being on the social media all the time. Something has to give. And it's unfortunate that it's obvious we can tell the thing that's given is his kids. He's definitely not there for his family. He's probably spends way more time on social media than he does with his actual family, which is super disturbing. But again, not surprising considering how much he tweets on there. On Wednesday evening, Mr. Musk announced that he was ending his stint with the government. Mr. Musk and his lawyers did not respond to requests for comment this week about his drug use and personal life. He has previously said that he was prescribed ketamine for depression, taking it about every 2 weeks, and he told his biographer, "I really don't like doing illegal drugs." By the way, that's a lie. That's a complete lie. If there's ever a guy who looks like he does a lot of illegal drugs, it's fucking Elon. And that's the thing that I don't like about him. Like, as being a fan of the tech side, the quote unquote entrepreneur side of Elon, the thing I don't like about him when he's entered in this political field has been his lack of standing on his shit, like saying stuff with his chest. If you're gonna get prescribed ketamine, or if you're gonna do fucking drugs in the first place, just wear it with your chest. Don't get it prescribed in the first place. Just do it. You're a fucking billionaire. No one can cancel you. No one can fire you, and even if they did, it wouldn't fucking matter anyway. It wouldn't leave a fucking dent if you got booted from fucking Tesla, right? But do it with your whole chest. Like, be who you want to be. Like, live that life. Be a rock star unapologetically so. And I think that people would maybe be more enamored to him. But this lie, this kind of facade he's keeping up of trying to act like he's not constantly fucking high is really annoying, because you know he is. You can tell by how he speaks. You can tell by how he fucking moves. You can tell how, you know, by everything, like how he twitches around, his erratic nature just in general. It's like, brother, we can tell you're on something. And if you're not on something, then it's actually quite concerning, but we know you are on something. Just be honest and do it. Especially at yours, like being him, like you've got every right, every reason to do so, because you're literally a fucking billionaire, but he doesn't want to. Cool. At a news conference with Mr. Trump on Friday, Mr. Musk was asked about the New York Times coverage. He questioned newspapers' credibility and told the reporter to move on. He later said on social media that he did not use drugs. Lies. That evening, President Trump told reporters outside Air Force One that he was not aware of regular drug use by Musk. "I'm not troubled by anything with Elon Musk. I think he's fantastic." By the way, I wonder if his hesitancy to say he takes drugs is linked to his jobs or his companies. I wonder if there's like a clause, there's some sort of stipulation, if you do take drugs in your court, then it could maybe risk him being booted from his companies, or his companies taken away from him. Maybe that's why he has to keep this facade up. But it's like, bro, most likely everyone that works at Tesla is probably on drugs too, with the way he pushes those guys, you know, to meet their deadlines. Same goes for the people at SpaceX and stuff. Like, come on, man, it's obvious. At a large government contractor, Mr. Musk's aerospace firm SpaceX must maintain a drug-free work. Oh, there we go. See, as a large government contractor, Mr. Musk's aerospace firm SpaceX must maintain a drug-free workforce and administers random drug tests to its employees. But Mr. Musk has received advance warning of the test. According to people close to the process, SpaceX did not respond to questions about the warnings. Of course they did. Of course. Musk is receiving advanced warnings. It's like the drug testing in the Premier League. If you get caught with that, you're just an idiot. You know, most people know it's a kind of open secret that they always give Premier League players a fucking heads up. That's why Premier League players rarely get fucking caught. But most people are on some sort of gear. You know what I mean? It's impossible to play as many Premier League games as a lot of players play, plus the cup games and stuff and whatever European games, without some sort of assistance. So this is no surprise. I just hope for Elon's sake, karma's sake, that at least if he's getting a heads up, everyone else gets a heads up too. Hope he's not doing a scummy thing where like Elon gets a heads up and the employees work for SpaceX, they do some gear and they get caught and then they get fired. That's not fair. Do you know what I mean? Imagine how pissed off you'd be if you were doing an 8-ball with fucking Elon in the toilets during the fucking SpaceX Christmas party, then you get fired, but Elon doesn't. You know? You'd be fucking annoyed. I know it's his company and stuff, but you'd be pissed. Mr. Musk, who joined the president's inner circle after making a vast fortune on cars, satellites and rocket ships, has long been known for grandiose statements and mercurial personality. Supporters see him as an eccentric genius whose slash-burn management style is key to his success. But last year, as he jumped into the political arena, some people who knew him worried about his frequent drug use, mood swings and fixations with having more children. This account of his behavior is based on private messages obtained by the Times, as well as interviews with more of a dozen people who know him. This year, some of the longtime friends, he renounced him, pointing to some of the public conduct. They said Elon has pushed the boundaries for his bad behavior more and more, said Philip Lowe, a neuroscientist and one-time friend of Musk, who criticized him for his noise like salute. And some women are challenging Musk for his control on their children. There's Grimes. One of his partners, Claire Bosher, also known as Grimes, has been fighting with Musk over their 5-year-old son known as X. Mr. Musk is extremely attached to the boy, taking him to the Oval Office and high-profile gatherings that are broadcast around the world. Miss Bosher has privately complained that the appearances violate the custody settlement in which she and Mr. Musk agreed to keep their child out of the public eye. He's definitely broken that one. According to people familiar with the concerns and provisions, which has not been previously reported, she has told people that she worries about the boy's safety and that frequent travel and sleep deprivation are harming his health. Yeah, he really doesn't like that. That's one thing he really doesn't. That's one thing he really doesn't give a fuck about. The women in his life. That's one thing he really doesn't give a fuck about. It seems like he loves his kids, with the exception of that one kid that's some trans. But when it comes to the women in his life, he doesn't give a fuck about them. Another mother, the right-wing writer Ashley St. Clair, revealed in February that she had a secret relationship with Mr. Musk and had given birth to his 14th known child. Mr. Musk offered her a large settlement to keep the paternity test concealed, but she refused. She sought a gag order in New York to force Miss St. Clair to stop speaking publicly, she said in an interview. Yeah, Ashley St. Clair, to be fair, no one has a lot of sympathy for her because she was really pursuing Elon. Like, she wanted Elon bad. Like, she wanted to have an Elon baby bad. I think she maybe had plans or aspirations for that baby to kind of take her out of the hood, quote unquote. But unfortunately, it didn't transpire that way. And now it's kind of been said out loud. I think it's a well-known secret that Elon basically moved to Texas for the sole purpose of trying to circumnavigate the child support, fees and shit, or payments. Because I think allegedly Texas has pretty low child support or requirements or something. So he pays the bare minimum. Despite being a billionaire, he pays these women the bare flipping minimum. What a crazy fucking guy. So I don't really have much sympathy for her in that respect, but I do feel bad for her because she kind of been left in the lurch in that respect. But hey, let's continue. The ketamine habit, goes on New York Times. Mr. Musk has described some of his mental health issues in interviews and on social media, saying on one post that he has felt great highs and great terrible lows in unrelenting stress. He has denounced traditional therapy and antidepressants. Surely somebody has to tell him that maybe being on Twitter so much isn't helping either, right? Surely, if you're running 3 of those companies at once and stuff, maybe reducing your social media output or your social media enjoyment should be the first thing on your fucking list. Maybe before you denounce the pills and stuff and the therapy, which might help. But surely stuff like social media, you should probably jump off it. But he seems to love it. He plays video games for hours on end. He struggles with binge eating, according to people familiar with his habits, and takes weight loss medication. And he posts one a day, night on his social media platform X. Of course he does. We know that, to be honest. His weight is always fluctuating up and down. Mr. Musk has a history of recreational drug use, the Wall Street Journal reported last year. Some board members at Tesla, his electrical vehicle company, have worried about his use of drugs, including Ambien. Jesus Christ, man. Ambien even. Come on, Elon. You're doing too much here, bro. In an interview in March 2024, the journalist Don Lemon... oh, shit. It's going to go somewhere else, isn't it? Damn it. Apologies. Big up everybody in the stream chat too. Thank you for joining in. Make sure you like the stream if you're enjoying what you see. If you're listening to this video, audio podcast, mate, leave me a 5-star review once you've done this. That'd be greatly appreciated, right? Leave me a 5-star review. You'll find all the links to all my socials and all my contact things in the description too. And yeah, I hope you're enjoying the flipping pod so far. Yeah, I hope you are. I hope you're enjoying it. So let's continue here. What did it say here about Don Lemon? What did Don Lemon say? What's Don Lemon snitching about? What's Don Lemon snitching ass talking about here? In an interview in March 2004, so yeah, the journalist Don Lemon pressed him on his drug use. Mr. Musk says he only took a small amount of ketamine about once every 2 weeks as a prescribed treatment for his negative moods. By the way, one thing that you know, any drug addict, any drug user, enthusiast, one thing you always do is undermine or underplay how much you actually do. That's like drug user 101. So if he says he takes a small amount, best believe he takes a big amount. If he says he only takes it every 2 weeks, best believe he does it every 2 days. You know, so anything he says, it's the opposite. If you've used too much ketamine, you can't really get work done, and I have a lot of work. Yeah, but you can also microdose it. He's acting stupid. He's being facetious. You can obviously microdose it throughout the day and no one will fucking be none the wiser. He had actually developed a far more serious habit at times found. Mr. Musk had been using ketamine often, sometimes daily, and mixing with other drugs according to people familiar with his consumption. The line between medical use and recreation was blurring, troubling some people close to him. He also took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms at a private gathering across the United States and at least one country according to those attending those events. That's one of the hardest things to do though, isn't it? Like, if you got a friend that's maybe doing a little bit too much gear, that kind of conversation is hard to broach. It's hard to know if that's even your place to even say anything, you know? So imagine how hard it is when the guy that you know that's doing too much gear is a billionaire, super influential. Maybe he pays for your life. Maybe he's giving you ample of opportunities to make your life better. So you maybe feel like you have a sense of, you know, loyalty to him. You're meant to turn the other cheek. So you're meant to look the other way. You're meant to bury your head in the sand. But you're also not helping him because it could end, you know what I mean? It could lead to his downfall. But yeah, look at this shit, man. And now they're beefing, man. Who would have guessed it? One moment, Elon was on stage doing star jumps behind Trump. Next moment, they're now beefing. Kind of crazy, isn't it? It's kind of funny. The Food and Drug Administration has formally approved the use of ketamine of only anesthetic medical purposes or procedures. Doctors with special licenses may prescribe it for psychiatric disorders like depression. By the spring of last year, Mr. Musk was ramping up the criticism of President Joseph R. Biden. Why did they say that for? President Joseph R. Biden Jr. Practically his policies on illegal immigration. Just say President Biden. Mr. Musk also is facing federal investigation for his business regulators. We're looking into crashes of the Tesla self-driving cars and allegations of racism at his factories, among other complaints. So I guess all those stresses is why he's doing the drugs. So that's what they're trying to make it seem like. Yeah, no excuse. There's at least half a dozen initiatives of significance to take me down, he wrote in a text message to someone close to him. The Biden administration views me as a number 2 threat after Trump. I can't be president, but I can help Trump defeat Biden, and I will. He publicly endorsed Mr. Trump in July. Around that time, Mr. Musk told people that his ketamine use was causing bladder issues, according to people familiar with the conversation. Yo, imagine you do so much ket, you have bladder issues. You develop kidney stones and stuff. Can you imagine that? On October the 5th, he appeared with Mr. Trump at the rally the first time, bouncing up and down around the candidate. That evening, Mr. Musk shared excitement with a person close to him. I'm feeling more optimistic after tonight. Tomorrow, we unleash the anomaly in the Matrix. This is not something of the chessboard, so they will be quite surprised, Mr. Musk added about a last later. Lasers from the space. So, to be honest, if Elon searches his text messages, he could quickly see who this person was. Whoever this snitch was, that's anonymous, he probably knows who it is. So, he knows this is true. After Mr. Trump won, Mr. Musk rented a cottage at Mar-a-Lago and the president-elect Florida resort to assist with the transition. Mr. Musk attended personal meetings and sat in one phone call with foreign leaders, and he crafted plans to overhaul the federal government under the new Department of Government Efficiencies. Okay, cool. So Elon was out here doing mad amounts of gear. Maybe that's the reason why Trump soured on him, because Trump is only known is a known teetotaler, right? He doesn't do absolutely anything, which makes Trump even more crazy, to be fair. The fact that he's the way he is and he doesn't do anything is kind of crazy. But I wonder if the drugs and the abuse of them is what maybe turned Trump off from Elon. And Elon kind of felt that, and that's why he's kind of gone a bit crazy now. Who knows? Maybe it's not the bill. Maybe it's the fact that Trump didn't want to do a bump with Elon, and Elon took that personally. He took that as an offense, and here we are. Who freaking knows? Who freaking knows? Talking about noses. Talking about fripping noses. Let's talk about Berghain. Berghain have just released their July 2025 program, and I am excited. You know why I'm excited? Because look at the first lineup. The 3rd of the 7th, 2025. Look at that. Can you see that straight away? Finest Berghain on the Thursday. Have you heard that before? I don't think I've ever heard of a Thursday Berghain rave. I'm not gonna lie. Usually during the week they have events in Panorama Bar, maybe that room called Soul. That's like a live, kind of place where usually people do live instrumentations or bands play, or you have like performances and dance or whatever else it may be. But this is the first time I've heard of somebody doing an event, right? Doing an event in Berghain, DJs specifically, on the Thursday night. So this is going to be fucking crazy. The queues are going to be mental. I'm imagining it's going to be really busy because it features DVS1 and Traxx. It's going to be really busy because it features DVS1 and Traxx. Now, I'm not too familiar with Traxx, I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to double check and see what I'll go on for who Traxx is. I'm not really too familiar with who Traxx may be, but I want to definitely, well, we all know who DVS1 is, so big up DVS1. But I want to hear who this Traxx person is. Who's Traxx? But that's the thing, it's such a generic name. It could be literally anybody, innit? Who is Traxx though? Let's see if we can find him on RA. Who's Traxx? Maybe this is Traxx, this person. Yeah, it's a Chicago DJ. Let's see. This is Traxx. Is it a man or a woman? Traxx is a man. Melvin Oliphant III. Oh, it's a black dude. Okay, cool. Big up Traxx then. It's a black guy. That's amazing. I had no idea who this Traxx person is. So big up Traxx. So Traxx is playing with DVS1. Look at that. It's already Hush 30 years. It's already got fucking 46 people reserved. He's also playing a Kappa Future. So okay, so he's a big DJ. Let's check his SoundCloud. I want to see what Traxx is about because I've never heard of this Traxx person before. Let's see what songs, what tracks did Traxx make that I would have known. Maybe he's got something pinned on there. 8,766 followers. Nation is home of the artist Traxx. Additionally, he's exclusive dance. Let's see, what do we have here? Does Traxx have anything that I can check out? Let's do popular tracks. I want to see what Traxx is about because I've never heard of this person. Let's see what popular tracks. So we got here a set. We got a couple of sets here. Is there any tunes that he's made? Okay, look, there we go. Traxx chain. There's a. No, that's not a Traxx tune. Where's there a Traxx tune? Is there no Traxx tunes here that he's done? I'm seeing other people's sets and stuff, but I'm not seeing any tunes. Has Traxx not made a tune before? Boom, 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 boom. Kid. Okay, cool. Let's check his Discogs because maybe I've missed something on the Discogs. Let's check out what Traxx did on Discogs then. Big up Traxx, Melvin Oliphant III. So has Traxx not produced anything of himself? What's the earliest record? Okay, cool. There you go. There's an EP there. Saturn. Was that Saturn 5? Strangers of the Lands. That's one of his first releases. Let's hear what this sounds like. I'm curious to hear what this sounds like. Okay, cool. First track. Let's play this. Let's go. Okay, it doesn't want to play it for some reason. Maybe you have to play it on YouTube. Let's see. Strangers of Saturn. Let's see what track sounds like. I'm curious to see what this. Okay, cool. There you go. It's not there for some reason. I can't find it. Can you just show me? Can I just play it for once, please, if you don't mind? There we go. This is Traxx, Strangers of something, right? What's the track called? Strangers in the Strange Land. In the strangest land. Go on, Traxx. Go on, Traxx. Yeah. Yeah, this guy's gonna smash it. This guy's gonna smash it playing alongside fucking Devious One. That's gonna be a fucking bop. That's gonna be a vibe. Let me actually check out some of the sets too. Let me see. That first track is already stupendous. Let me see what this is saying. Traxx present the definitive articles of house music, chapter 5. What's this about? Is this a mix or is this like a podcast? What the fuck is this about? 1 month ago, 5th chapter. As previous chapters, okay. The 5th chapter from the definitive days of house music, as the previous 4 chapters, is an education that a lot of alleged house DJs and producers are obviously lacking, myself included. Traxx plays again from the early 80s, 90s and today from vintage out of print labels. Wow. We hope this will give the people the chance to listen to music many may have never heard of this side of sound, that provides a provocative and thoughtful music workout in your mind with vinyl turntables, a vintage mix console and the effects box and CD players. This section is personally dedicated to my beloved Heart, Vicky, Jason, Nesta, Naughty Wood, Ron Morelli. Oh, big up Ron Morelli, Cosmic, Alex, the dancers, dreamers of for the continuation of the lessons and storytelling of Chicago sincerity. Yeah, big up fucking this. I love this. I love the attention to detail. I love how serious he takes it. Let's play a bit of this. Let's play a bit of this.
Magic ritual is in opposition to all uncreative.
Good intro. Let's fast forward it. Mate, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's going to be possible for me to do, but I'm thinking I might have to do one of those one day things. I did it last time for Amsterdam and nearly killed me, but I think I might have to do it, man. I think I might have to do a quick little fly out on Wednesday, come back on fucking Friday morning or Friday night. I think I might have to give it a go to see this. This is going to be a good night, bro. Traxx back to back with fucking Devious One, or, you know, playing with Devious One. 30 hours. What, they're going to be playing 15 hours each? It's going to be a vibe, bro. Come on. Fast forward a bit, And I'm assuming too, because I'm the only person that didn't know who Traxx was before today. I'm sure most people did, but I'm assuming because Traxx is, you know, a black person and from Chicago, most likely whenever I've been to Berghain and there's black DJs playing, it does bring out a lot more niggas. So it's gonna be a whole better vibe as well in there. People are gonna be dancing, smiling. You know what I mean, you'll be seeing some of the brothers, some of the sisters on the dance floor. It's gonna make for a nice change than how it usually is. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually thinking I might have to do one of those 48-hour trips in and out just for this. I might have to do it. Yeah, big up Don Dotter, big up the stream chat, big up the vibes. Big up on 10 toes, big up Shades Cow, big up Perk Angle, big up Addy Z, I see you. Smash that like button. Anyway, let's leave it there. I'm gonna get too excited. I like Traxx, man. I want to see him play. I like Traxx. Definitely gonna see him play. So anyway, let's go forward with the whole July, because I'm getting distracted. So obviously the first July of the month is going to be that Thursday, Finest with Divas 1 and Traxx playing. The following day, you got Delirious Night with Hitchman, Karin, Shakolin, Timu, Basha, and Willow. Then the first club night of the month will be on the Saturday. Berghain Room, you got Fadi Moham, GGFM, Luke Slater, the legend, Peder Manfelt, Face Fatale, Philippa Pasho, Quelza again, Quelza. Berghain Community Reddit is gonna explode, bro. The first club night of the month, we got Quelza again. They fucking hate Quelza. Quelza started off as like the darling. He was honestly the darling. He plays these expansive sets. He writes these fucking soppy, like, don't get me wrong, I love Kelza and stuff, but he's a bit of a beg with those fucking posts. Like, he goes on as if like like you played it too often to be having a spiritual awakening every time you're playing Berghain. Let's relax, Quelza. Do you know what I mean? Not every set is a spiritual awakening. Not every set gives you the reason to live and thank you for it. Like, he's a bit too much. His posts kind of annoy me, but I do like his style of playing. I love the fact that he plays like, I don't know, he kind of plays like he's scoring a movie, you know? So I think I actually would love to see maybe later on in his life, in his career, maybe because he's super young, Quelza, to see him maybe actually go into that, actually become like a, you know, maybe do the soundtrack of certain movies and stuff. That'd be fucking amazing because I think he's got an eye or an ear for it. He does really well in terms of creating a narrative for his sets and wherever. He's great. But the Berghain community subreddit fucking hate him because he's always playing. He's on every fucking lineup, I swear. But he must also be a good guy because I'm assuming the bookers must just enjoy him playing, must like him as a person, blah, 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 blah. So big up Quelza, same way. Panorama Bar Room, on the 5th or the 7th, you've got someone called Chu Chui. How you say that name? Chu Chiwa, I think. You got Deepa, Genie on Earth, who's great. I know that. Kira Sucro, Monkey Timers, Sound Metamorphosis DJs, great. And also Yamarachi. And the following weekend on the 10th or the 7th on Soul Nut Big Room, you got somebody called Danger Mami, Imi, and Keita playing. Then the following Friday, you got 15 Years of Sleuth Boogie featuring Demju, Intro Beats, Joe Clean, Philippa, and Sloth Boogie DJs. Then on that Saturday, the 12th of July, the first club night, or that club night, on the Saturday, you've got Elsa B, Berghain playing room. You got Chris playing, Leah Uchi playing, Red Rooms, Renee Wise, my G, big up Renee Wise, The Lady Machine, and TWR72. By the way, The Lady Machine, not gonna lie, I don't like to separate or gender fucking DJs, but if we are gonna have best male, best female, I think The Lady Machine might be the best female DJ out right now. Not gonna lie, in terms of like being like the ability to like just duppy and shell down any fucking place, any setting, I think The Lady Machine might be the best female DJ out right now, hands down, bar none. She might be the best. Panel Bar Room on the 12th, you've got Andrea Galuzzi, Avalon Emerson, Baduni, big up Baduni, legendary house DJ, legendary. Claude Von Strock, really? Claude Von Strock is playing in Panel Bar. Francisco Burns, okay. Matt Vaughn, Perfect Lovers, Victor Rodriguez. Then on the 15th, you got a Stella Rose night, October in the Eye, Stella Rose. Then you got a 17th, you got a Butu night featuring Makoto Sakamoto, Imika Elena, and someone called Mui. I'm assuming that's going to be a bit of a vibe. Finest Friday on the 18th, you got Terrence Dixon playing live, Axel Bowman, John Talabot, and Vlada. On the 19th, you got Bakar, Dasha Roosh, Eftemin, Quartz, Marcel, Mary Lake, Vincent Newman. Panabar Room, you got DJ Holographic, big up her, Fidel, Fort Ramon, Nick Hopner, Orgazon, Soundstream, the fucking legend, Wanna Do Something. Oh, big up Wanna Do Something. Great little DJ duo there. Great little DJ duo couple. They're fucking great. La Noche, I think that might be the second time playing right now, if I'm not mistaken. La Noche night is happening on the 25th of July. Blash and Alat playing. Byron Yeats, DHC, sorry. DJ Sweet 16, Peach, Shay Mout, and THC. And then you got CSD night happening, right? CSD, I think, is the... Isn't that Berlin Pride? Isn't CSD... What is CSD? Isn't that Berlin Pride again? What is CSD Berlin? What is that? If I'm not mistaken, isn't that like Pride? Yeah, there you go. It is Berlin. It's Berlin. CSD Berlin is known as Berlin Christopher Street Day. Is an annual LGBTQ plus celebration and demonstration held in Berlin. It's one of the largest LGBTQ events in Europe, drawing hundreds of thousands of people. The event commemorates the Stonewall riots and this pivotal moment in queer history. Okay, cool. So that's what's happening. CSD night, right? So CSD night, who have you got playing? Oh, the return of Boris. Okay, this is a good night to go, actually. So the standouts so far, obviously the standouts is the finest Friday on the Thursday, the 3rd of the 7th, and of course the CSD night. I don't even need to see the rest of that. I already know it's a standout. That's a standout already. But the lineup on CSD night, you've got Boris, Clarissa Kimsky, Massimiliano Pellegria, Mike Starr, big up Mike Starr, legend. Olivia Mendes, big up Mike Starr, by the way. I feel like Mike Starr was Panorama Bar, and now he's doing a lot more Berghain room stuff, so he must be shelling as well. Olivia Mendes, Partok, Roy Perez, legendary. Wow, Roy Perez playing in Berghain and not playing in Panorama Bar. Steffi, Virginia, Xander Woods, Panorama Bar room. You got Bashka, Cormac. Oh, I have to go. This year's Justin Kudmore, Cathy de Jesus, Kylo Patra, Jones, Lakuti, Luigi Deverny, Natalie Robinson, and Baumacher, Stacey Hotwax Halley, Hale, and Tamo Sumo. That's a fucking good night, bro. CSD night. But to be fair, the rest of the nights aren't that banging. I think probably because it's July and there's loads of festivals happening and a lot of people can't probably play twice in 1 month, or there's like a exclusivity thing in the area and shit. I don't know. But it's not the most bounce-storming night, but I think the standout, obviously, is this finest Berghain. For not finest Friday, it's the finest Berghain on the Thursday or the 3rd of July. And of course, that CSD one. That one's really good. But the rest of them, to be fair, although they're not banging, like I always say, every time I do these kind of, previews or reviews of the program, I always tell people, if you want to go Berghain for the first time and you want to experience what it actually is like, I suggest you go to one of these random ones that aren't too full of like big time DJs, right? Don't get me wrong, the fifth has still got big people on it, but choose a random one that doesn't have a big time list of people on there. That's when you got to get a proper vibe, because most likely if you also go to a non-hype one, the likelihood of you getting in increases because the queues won't be as long. If you don't get in, you can always come back the next day and try again, or maybe alternate and figure out what time the security changes and then maybe try and get in that way. But when you get in, you'll get a far better idea of what it's like, because it'll be full of a mix of people like heads and tourists and locals and regulars and shit. It'll be a better vibe as opposed to going to the CSD night that I'm going to. Although it's going to be sick, it would. I'm also anticipating getting fucking bullied by gay guys. I'm anticipating a lot of like very ripped, jacked up on GHB gay guys are gonna be shoulder barging me all over the place. I'm pretty sure, right? As it always happens whenever I've attended Berghain, especially at a CSD event, which I've been to a couple of times. But yeah, that's what I was talking about. So big up Berghain. July program is out now. Check it out, please. Check it out. You know where to find it. Cool. Let's move on. So, as per the cover image of this particular podcast, we want to talk a little bit about Richie Hawtin. So Richie Hawtin decided to jump on his social medias, specifically his Instagram, and explain why he's still playing at Sonar. Despite a bunch of people dropping out from Sonar because of their links with KKR and the ongoing genocide over there in Palestine, Free Palestine, and KKR's association or links to the Israel Defense Force and weapons development, all this malarkey, a lot of artists out there have decided quite bravely to basically boycott and to cancel their gigs at places like Sonar and other places like South by Southwest. For whatever reason, Richie Hawtin, aka Plastic Man, has decided not to, which is always interesting, isn't it, when this sort of happens. But no surprise though, because I remember this happening during COVID. During COVID and all the playgrounds are happening, I wasn't really too pissed off with the working class, let's say, or I like to call them working DJs. I don't think that's even a term, but the people who literally play for rent money, right? The people who are literally like, every gig is like important. Those type of DJs, I weren't that bothered if they were playing playgrounds, because they needed to eat still and they had no other ways of making income. And a lot of their gigs had got cancelled, which they were probably banking on. But it was all the big time DJs who basically get paid 100 grand, 50, whatever, to play sets all over the world, who were the ones that were playing the most playgrounds. Like, they were on it hard, especially in, like, let's say third world countries where the regulations and the restrictions weren't as strict as they were in other parts of the world. So they were taking a piss. Good example being Blondish, right? That blonde DJ. She was everywhere. She was playing, I think, in loads of places around Southeast Asia, around South American stuff during the COVID, during the playgrounds. And it's like, bro, you're like a big time business techno DJ type of thing. You're like mainstream, you're commercial. You book, you play everywhere. Like, you probably, every set you play, you probably don't get less than 10 grand. You can afford to maybe sit down for a bit, you know what I mean? And chill. But no, she goes and plays these big events. These big events attract big crowds. COVID's fucking rampant at that time. No one really knows what's going on. I can't imagine the amount of people who probably caught COVID around those type of times and perished. Again, not blaming her, but in particular. But hey, these things happen. So it's always interesting to me how, for whatever reason, the DJs who make the biggest stand, the ones who are really sacrificing their career, like a lot of them people, I don't really agree with the whole Berghain boycott either, but a lot of people boycotted Berghain when Berghain didn't do that much wrong. They just didn't make a statement. I think they made a statement about the Ukraine and Russia war, but then I guess they kind of regretted that and decided to be apolitical, which I think is the best way to be, really. If you're a big club like Berghain, you should allow everyone to voice their political opinions if they want to play somewhere, but you shouldn't be silencing people, and you also maybe shouldn't be hitching your wagon to either side. You should just be a kind of a neutral platform where people can come and voice their concerns or their whatever when it comes to politics. And people, I think, were brave, maybe ill-advised, to cancel or to boycott Berghain. But the people that did that, mostly, I felt like, were like the working DJs, the ones who kind of are hurting themselves a lot financially doing so. But then the ones like Richie Hawtin, the big time DJs, they're the ones that don't do this. They're the ones that would rather not sacrifice their sets. They're the ones who are always about the money, always focused on the dollar bills. So let's hear what Richie has to say and how he justifies not dropping out of Sonar despite all these other peers dropping out, and let's see how he makes sense of it. I'm really curious to hear his opinion on this. I haven't heard it, so I'm reacting to it first time with you guys too.
Hi everyone, I have a little message for you all, somewhat complex, but definitely important.
It's probably not complex. You just want the money. Like I said earlier about Elon with the drugs thing, saying, oh, I take ketamine because it's prescribed to me for my depression. If you're going to do it, just do it with your whole chest. You're Elon Musk. You're a fucking billionaire. You should be able to do what the fuck you want. If people don't like it, tell them to go fuck themselves. And if that loses you jobs, loses you a bit of fucking net worth, then so be it. But it's this whole pussified thing of like, it's like Elon doing the fucking Heil Hitler thing, but then saying that, oh, it's a Roman salute. No, if you're going to be a fucking Nazi, be a Nazi with your whole chest, then face the consequences and repercussions of your actions. Same goes for fucking this guy. If you're gonna still do a set at Sonar, just say you're doing it because you want to, you booked it, you like money, and you want to play. You want to entertain your fans, and you want to fucking get booked and use that money for good. Whatever you want to do it for. But let's not say it's complex. It's not. You like playing and you like money. That's it.
I imagine by now everybody has seen the Sonar announcement that went out announcing some changes to the lineup, some people canceling, and a change
I'm
in
not
my
canceling.
performance as Plastic Man Live to a special DJ show.
Wow. I didn't read the caption. So not only is he not cancelling, he's changing it from a Plastic Man Live set to a Richie Hawtin DJ set. He's like doubling down. Not only am I not playing under my pseudonym, I'm playing with my full government. That's how much I'm playing. Richie Hawtin's a fucking mad lad.
Now, this change is actually due to the fact that Plastic Man Live is not ready to go. As always, I want to make my shows as progressive, futuristic, innovative as possible. And although we are close to where I want to be, we're not ready for Sonar. That's actually been the case for about 2 months, and we've been busy with Sonar trying to find a replacement or other ideas. And unfortunately, that process was slowed down by more important issues. So for those who were coming
My guy, you're waffling. Get to the point, bro. You know he's chatting shit when he's waffling. But again, it's so sad because I really did enjoy when one of my best raving moments was going to Fold. Was it like 2019, 2018? If you guys remember, if you know, 2018, 2019, Richie Hawtin actually played. He did a Plastic Man live set. Might have been one of my best raving experiences ever. Number one, because of the crowd. It was so great. Maybe because of his age. It was so cool to be in the club and see like older people there, super young people there, all fucking, going fucking crazy with Plastic Man doing his thing on the DJ booth. And I think for every reason, I think the booth was different than what it is now. It wasn't as far away from you. You could kind of see him doing his fucking thing on there. That was fucking sick. And I kind of came away from it thinking, shit, I forgot how fucking great Richie / Plastic Man is. So it's kind of sad to see him ending up like this. But again, it makes sense. The older you get, the more conservative you get, the more afraid you get of losing your money, keeping your money. So it's no surprise that he's like this, but just get to the point, man. Allow the waffle. Like, why are you not boycotting properly? Explain.
to see me as Plastic Man and have maybe booked tickets, my heartfelt apologies. And I hope that you'll enjoy the show that I'm going to put on and that you'll be ready for Plastic Man when it returns.
Okay, get to the point now. Why are you not boycotting?
Now, with everything else going on with Sonar,
yes,
and their investment and ownership with KKR, I need to say a couple of things about that.
Hurry up, then. Get to the point, please.
Because I have chosen also to stay with Sonar because
that dry throat, he's swallowing hard, isn't it? He knows he's fucked up. I wonder how many, would he lose any fans off the back of this? Do his Richie Hawtin fans really care that he's playing at Sonar? That he's not boycotting? That in effect his actions are essentially perpetuating the horrors, the genocide that's going on in Palestine? Do a lot of his fans really care? I'm not too sure. I guess I'll read the comments later to find out, but let's see.
Because of their long-standing commitment to my artistic career over the last 30
their long-standing commitment to paying me. I'm not leaving Sonar because, unlike other promoters, unlike other event organizers, they always pay my invoices on time, sometimes ahead of time. One time I play there and they literally gave me a whole suitcase full of euros, and ever since then I have handed them my penis and said, hey, do as you must, tug at your will, suck at your pleasure. Just be honest and say that. You know what I mean? They've kept you paid, they've kept you booked and busy during your ups and your downs, so I'm staying by them. Just say that. Say it with your chest, bro.
35 years. But I in no way condone what's happening in Gaza.
Too late.
And to the Palestinian
Too late.
people.
Too late.
This is outright genocide.
Oh, he was worried. He didn't want to say that word. Genocide? He's worried that check's not going to come through. He's worried Benjamin Netanyahu's going to fucking void that check straight away. Genocide?
And something that none of us can support or believe in.
Okay.
Going forward over the summer.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
I also have some other performances.
What are you going to do?
With festivals that also have ownership from the same company.
So you're going to stay with them too?
Monegros, Awakenings.
Yeah.
I just played Boiler Room.
Yo, I love the grip. I love the weird grip, the iron-like grip that Israel seems to have on dance music. It's fucking crazy, isn't it? Don't you think it's interesting? How much, but it doesn't make sense though, because I haven't been there, but I've heard the scene there is popping in Tel Aviv, especially. The scene is crazy. Loads of great clubs, loads of great local DJs that don't even play here, that just play over there and maybe other parts of the Middle East and shit. But isn't it quite interesting just the influence, the many thingers that Israel in general has outside when it comes to the entertainment industry? They're attached to everything. So essentially, in this regards, if he was to take a principled stance and boycott, he would actually have to then end or boycott all the other raves, because they all are, again, like he's saying, have some sort of involvement with KKR too. But that would also be good. That would also be great for the cause. That'd be amazing to have like a DJ of the profile of Richie Hawtin saying, you know what, I'm boycotting. Who knows what that may do in the long run? Will it actually do any change right now? Unlikely, but every action has some sort of reaction in the end. It's all a ripple effect. And you never know where it may lead to in the future. But Richie's letting us know. Richie by name, Richie by nature.
And my position is that since all of these organizations and festivals have supported me over many, many years, and since I know many of the key people inside and have spoken to them and know where their heart lies, I'm going to stand by my commitment to play at all those festivals this summer.
Jesus, I know where their heart lies. In the destruction of Palestine, right? That's where their heart lies. Their heart lies in ripping the Palestinians away from their homeland and giving away their houses to fucking settlers. That's where their heart lies, mate. Fucking hell. Their heart lies, you know.
But going forward, my relationships will change.
So you're going to play, but you're not going to play there next year. This guy, man.
I will look at gigs and festivals and clubs as they are today or in the future, what their ideals are, what they stand for.
This kind of sounds like the excuse or the reply when Balenciaga got in trouble for all that kiddie shit, right? That borderline pedophile shit, right? And they asked Kardashians for their a statement, and Kim came out and said something like, "We're gonna have a word, we're gonna have a meeting, a stronger some nonsense, just words, right? Fillers, no action, no nothing." That's what he's saying. A whole lot of nothing really here.
What their viewpoints are on important global issues, and align myself with those who have similar ideals as what I have, and I hope similar ideals to many of us in the electronic music community. That may mean in the future I don't play some of these festivals, but that will be my commitment going forward. I think there's also another issue underneath all of this.
What's that?
Because the company that everyone is talking about right now is a large multi-conglomerate and has actually no place in our culture, especially with...
You can't talk out both sides of your mouth, man. You can't take the money from a company that has no place in our culture, but then also also chastise them. Like, what? This is weird. Like, this is so funny. I wonder if they do. I wonder, you know what this kind of sounds like? You know the people that do like rug pulls with cryptocurrencies? Like a lot of those people, some of their scripts will get leaked. They send to influencers where they'll say, hey, don't worry, promote this fucking meme coin, and then here's the tweets to put out later where you would say, hey, I don't have any involvement in this, it wasn't my fault. Like, they lay out the whole plan of like, look, shield this fucking meme coin, act like you're in it. Then later on, when your fans turn on you for shilling them a meme coin and doing a rug pull, you can put out the statement where you basically point the blame at us, the people behind it. So it seems like, I wonder if KKR and all these festivals are saying the same thing to his DJs. They'll be like, look, don't leave, don't boycott, don't cancel. You can say what you want. You can criticize us in the media. Don't worry, we know. You're under pressure now. Everybody fucking hates us. So we'll let you say what you want. We're not going to penalize you. We're not going to, cancel your booking. But just don't cancel on us. But we'll then let you say what you want to say on your social. That's what it feels like. Because this is strange. How are you criticizing them and saying these strong words, but then you're also accepting money from them? It's like, if they don't belong in the culture, why are you accepting money from them?
The other types of businesses and investments they do. But let's also think about the type of festivals and clubs what I want to play. Do I want to be playing
those bug eyes? That's guilt. Those big bug eyes that he did there, that's pure guilt coming through there.
To those owned by corporations whose main objective is to make more money and only worry about their ROI, return on investment. That's not where I came from. I think, honestly, we've all actually benefited somehow from.
I like how he's not making any comment about donating the money, by the way. Like, he's not doing what Dixon did. Dixon played at fucking field day. Hey, I'm going to play because I want to play for my fans, but all the money I play, I'm going to donate that fee to humanitarian aid and shit. He's not doing any of that. He's just been like, I'm just going to play. He's waffling a bit here. I'm not sure if he's going to say anything more. So I'm just going to quickly browse the comments to see what the fans are saying. Business Teshna, I'm assuming, ain't going to be too happy about this. So what's Business Teshna saying? Business Teshna said the following. While at this point we should be thankful for any efforts of a big name DJ while at this point we should be thankful for any efforts that big name DJs do, it's hard to understand why you're still doing the shows, especially when you're aware of what you're contributing to with your labor and name. Exactly. If the people you sold their festivals would care about the relationship with DJs, they would have asked the big name DJs that helped them build these up before they sold out. They clearly value the financial benefits higher than anything else and therefore should face consequences for it. To be fair, I have no problem with the festivals doing, whatever, relationships with these corporations and shit. It is what it is. Got to keep the lights on. When the consequences come, when time changes and people are made aware of who's involved in certain things, because I'm sure people wouldn't have had such an issue with Sonar if what's happening in Palestine wasn't happening. But people are now, investigating and finding out who's in charge and who's playing a part, who are the puppet masters behind the scenes who are perpetuating this genocide. And now they're trying their best, whatever way they can, to influence and to try and get to a point where maybe there's a ceasefire, there's an end to the war by, pulling away from these festivals and hurting these companies where their pockets are, which might influence maybe, hopefully in the future, some sort of peaceful ceasefire. That's what people are hoping for. So yeah, it continued Peter session. A lot of your fans like that. You're idealistic, and we do think part of the reason you're successful in business is because you're always trying to take proactive steps. A few months ago, you made a post about a slice, and we think many big DJs like the idea of project, but we're too hesitant to get involved for financial reasons. Maybe it would change the year later, but the project obviously didn't have more resources to wait another year. For big name artists, so afraid to cool. Another person here says, come off it. These festivals and Boiler Room have been culture vultures for too long. They are self-serving, prioritizing money and clout over both ethics and quality. Let's not act naive here. It's no surprise that these commercial shit shows are happily accepted. Blood money. Another person here says, boycott doesn't include asterisks or knowing that their heart's in the right places. Exactly. You can't boycott somebody with your heart in the right place. It's easy from behind the screen to criticize. Maybe you have contracts that are damaging to break, but these are great opportunities to stick to the bottom line. Exactly. Embarrass them when all their major artists pull out. We expect more from you because we all know how important this art form can be. Pop stars or EDMN are sellouts anyway. Can't expect anything from them. To be fair, but Richie's also been Richie Hawtin has been made. He's a multi-millionaire, isn't it? I'm not going to lie. He's a multi-millionaire. So I think people that are multi-millionaires, this is how they make their money, bro. Like they do these fucked up things, They're not in it for the right reasons. They're in it self-serving reasons, That's essentially how he's been able to make. That's maybe been able to make as much money he's had, still remain as relevant as he's had, because he's got this, he's got this Jeff Bezos in him, He's got this cold heart capitalist in him, which is, is what it is. Another person here says, Richie, can we have a conversation regarding this matter? I'm the wife of Mr. Clean from Satellite. I never forgot that you told me that the Voyager helped you focus on Plastic Man. I have some ideas to how you could foster events that have not been washed in blood. I met Richie and John several years ago when I was considering joining Plus 8 Ventures. I think I may connect some dots for the good of the industry. I've been trying to reach out to booking, but my business partner has been given multiple contacts. Hear me out on this. What could be possible? At the very least, we are other resources of capital. The line starts next year. Hi, Richie. Thank you for the words and future intentions. These are definitely the questions we need to ask. But one question is also the most important one. Isn't the line now? Exactly. Not next year. Exactly. Why not just yet? Because this genocide is happening now. By keeping the funding running and not holding KKR responsible in any way at this very moment, there's zero impact. We are witnessing one of the most imminent things that have been happening in the earth. I would really like to understand, as you are clearly state the line, why you choose not to implement it yet is the most powerful moment. Thank you. And that's the thing though, like recently, you know, we all saw those images of the children, I think Children's Hospital or something that got bombed recently. The aid centers or people that were collecting aid got fired at. That harrowing image that I saw of people literally picking up limbs, severed limbs of people from the roofs of buildings and shit, like horrendous. Kids dying, it feels like by the hundreds. It's hard to see all those images and think, you know what, I'm gonna start protesting next year. It's like, come on, Richie Hawtin, man, surely you've got enough money. Another one says, even if you've had a long-standing relationship with something for a prolonged period of time, it doesn't mean that these things can't change at some point, or that the values that they once shared will always remain aligned. In your case, Sonar and Awakenings have supported your role as a DJ in the scene, while also helping to shape music culture for many generations. But their values changed since becoming part of KKR, which in no way represents the values of electronic music at this scene. Exactamente. It's sad to see that just a few months ago, you were disappointed that people what happened to A-Slice. Exactly. But now you choose to look the other way and simply take the refuge in a nostalgia that once was but no longer is. Figures like you have a lot of power in the words and decisions. This was the perfect moment to try to set an example and raise the awareness about the happening in our world and try to change it. That's why I don't listen to people like leaders of his level who talk about the underground, who talk about what needs to happen, and all these new kids are ruining the music and this techno scene and all these people that are obsessed with social media. That's not listen to them. Don't listen, because these people are the ones that are full of the most shit. When push comes to shove, when people start boycotting, when actions start to be done, these are the same guys that hide behind the money. These are the same guys that run away to their fucking villas, that bury their heads in the sands. These ones that kind of want to talk and tell you how you should rave, tell you how you should enjoy your music, tell you which leader you should and shouldn't like. When push comes to shove and it actually starts to affect their bottom line, they're like, no. I'm not protesting. I'm fucking playing. Another person here says, good on you, Richie, as a 49-year-old who's been part of the culture since the early 90s. It's refreshing to hear this. We definitely don't want our culture to be hijacked by people who are suddenly looking to okay, cool. Don't we talk about that? Another person here has minutes to say every trendy phrase in the book to basically say, I'm against genocide unless it impacts me financially this year. I love that you threw safe spaces in there for no reason. Another person here says, with respect, this is unfortunate. Everyone's trying to be very nice and very respectful to him, because I get to respect him a lot as an artist. So they're disappointed, but I think people like this, you got to like tell him to him straight. You got to call him some names. You know what I mean? You got to take the piss out of his hairline. You get me? You got to start taking the piss out of his voice. You know what I mean? You got to start really going at him to maybe get the point across. I don't think being this kind is going to really get the point across, but I could be wrong. This person says, with respect, you have the power to make a real difference by pulling out of these events and standing against the funding genocide. There is no time, no more urgent than now, as we stand witnessing the slaughter of Palestinians every single day. Amen, sister. You're not pulling out of these lineups emboldens others to do the same. Exactly. That's the other thing as well. If a DJ like Richie, he's not pulling out and saying, I'm going to be playing all of my gigs. By the way, he didn't even say I'm going to be playing this one because it's coming up soon. I don't want to cancel. He's basically saying I'm going to play every single event I'm playing this summer has ties to KKR, and I'm playing all of them. What a piece of shit. And again, I like Richie, but guy's a piece of shit. Let's just call the spade a spade. Just the statement, most likely in solidarity because we don't want to do the right thing. No, sorry. Just checking the comments and see the friends applauding your statement, most likely in solidarity because they don't want to do the right thing and pull out either, which is pretty disheartening. I generally hope you'll do what's brave and right. There's still time, but it's now, not next year. Don't encourage someone to do the right thing. If they don't do the right thing, just fuck them and know where they stand. Now it's like, cool. Now you have to decide as a fan, can you still listen to his music? Can you still go to his raves? Can you still fucking buy his shitty sake? That's what you have to fucking decide. Another person here says, oh, Richie Hawtin says himself, hi everyone, I've already uploaded the video. I hope it resonates with you. As always, thank you for the support and much love. I don't think there's a lot of support here, brother. And last person here, before I move on, Richie, I appreciate your willingness to speak on this, but with full respect, acknowledging injustice while continuing to accept invitations from the institution complicit in silence, knowing their platforms shape public perception, is not neutrality. It's a decision and has its consequences. Amen, this person. A fucking men. In Buddhism, the Dharma teaches right action and courage in discomfort. delaying accountability until next year after another round of gigs, significant fees and exposure feels like reflection and more like deferral. The time to reassess isn't after one more season of benefit, it's now when actually costs is something. Exactly. But look at his eyes there. He's thinking, he's imagining, how am I going to pay for my chalet? How am I going to pay for my extracurricular activities? How am I going to pay for another trip to fucking Osaka? How am I going to pay for all these things? I need to book these. I mean, that's his eyes. He's got bills. He's like, fuck them Palestinians. I need to pay, which is fucking disheartening, but I think that is what it is. You've always stood for innovation and ethics and music, electronic music. Has he really though? He just says these things. I don't think he stands for them. He stands about lining his pockets, really, to be fair. That's why this moment matters, because your silence, no matter how heartfelt your private conversations with people working at these institutions may be, resonates louder than you intend. But like, it's like the A-Slice thing. Everyone credits him for making that statement about A-Slice when he went under, but I swear I didn't really see him talking about A-Slice before he went under. I don't remember him talking about A-Slice when he went under. Then all of a sudden it goes under and he makes a statement and it was like, oh yeah, you may as well. I'm sure DBS one's looking at him thinking, bro, where were you before? And for those who are suffering, for those who are mourning, that silence may feel like betrayal. True leadership, especially in art, sometimes means stepping down before you're ready, not because it's easy, but because it's right. With sincerity and love, a fellow artist and a human being. Ah, fuck that. Oh, Nasha's there too. What's Nasha saying? Nasha, what's she saying? Having a position, especially political, is not for the boneless people. It's good to see you're on the right side. As Ukrainian, I know the price of having a position and speaking out will never regret about it. You're not disappointing here. It's great to see, because there are not many people like you on the scene. Oh, shut up, Nastia. Shut the fuck up, honestly. What a nothing statement. Honestly, shut the fuck up. Anyway, Richie Hawtin, disappointing as per usual. Not so surprising, by the way. But I'm curious to see what it's going to do in the future, how it's going to impact his career, if anything. But it's disappointing to see. The truth is, he just wants to play and get paid. He doesn't necessarily care about what's going on in Israel and Palestine. He'd rather it not happen, I'm assuming. But he doesn't want to do what's going to hurt his pocket, what's going to actually make him uncomfortable, or what might actually lead to peace over there by boycotting. He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. He's going to chastise KKR, but still receive money from them, which is fucking weird. But hey, it is what it is. So big up Richie Hawtin, I guess, in a way. Big up Richie Hawtin in a way. Big up Richie Hawtin. So that has been the Excellent Zinger Show, episode number 911. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to have your company as per usual. For those of you listening to this via the podcast app and watching via the YouTube, I'm going to do something that I don't usually do. I'm going to play my song of the day right now. I usually play only for the audio-based podcast, but I thought, you know what? Let's just mix things up a bit and play the song of the day so you can all hear what I'm fucking inspired by. So today's song of the day is by Jerome. The track is from the EP The Balance. The track is called Satisfaction. It's on the B-side of this EP that just dropped the other day from the label Super Rhythm. So please check it out. Jerome Hill. The track is called Satisfaction. That's my song of the day. It's going to be playing underneath my voice as I continue talking. And also for those of you who are watching via the YouTube, do not leave. We're going to go straight over to the random show. Redirect if you're watching the live stream. If you're listening to this via the podcast app, then of course, leave me a 5-star review before you leave. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Jerome Hill, Satisfaction, my song of the day. Thank you for tuning into the Casino Zinger Show, and I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Take care. Peace.